how to deal with our $36 trillion in debt the United States government has. First question, I guess, why are we in debt? And that many people have many answers to that, but I guess the way I visualize it is back in the times of Ronald Reagan and Tip O'Neill in the 1980s, decisions were made to enter into deficit spending in order to increase military expenditure and and to continue social programs, not to trade one for the other, and so that we could defeat the Soviets in the Cold War. And then, for whatever reason, Congress, year after year after year after year after that, allowed for a deficit. And you can say whatever you want to say. There was a lack of political will to slash the social spending. There was a lack of political will to raise taxes on the wealthy. You can say whatever you want to say, but the reason why we have the debt is because Congress authorized it. Congress allowed it to happen. Okay, how do we deal with it? Okay, how much of our debt is because of wasteful government spending, incompetent bureaucrats, people who are just stealing, etc.? Some of that debt is because of this reason. You would think that Doge and Donald Trump and Elon Musk, it's like that is the only reason for it, I guess. That might be a straw man argument, but I don't know. I don't know if it's even knowable, but I would estimate it's only a few $1 trillion, $3 or $4 or $5 trillion. So the other $30 trillion were in debt, I think, because we needed to spend the money on the things that we spent the money on, but we refused to tax the wealthy, particularly, in order to get the money that we needed to do those things. And so, how do we fix the problem? And here's where I might say something that's different than anything else that you're hearing. I wish Bernie Sanders would say it. Maybe he does. I don't know, because I only ever hear Bernie describe the problem, but I don't hear him describe the best solution. And the best solution is a one-time revolutionary tax on all the wealth that somebody has above a given set of money. And that could be, $500,000 or $1 million. A 15% tax on any value that you own, your collective value above a certain threshold, a one-time tax. And understand that would mean like you have a millionaire family, a billionaire family over there. Billionaire family over there would have to declare that they have $17 million worth of wealth. Now they have to give 15% of that 16 million, because it's everything they have above $1 million, say. So 15% of that 16 million, I don't know, is a couple $1 million. And they have to declare that they own the federal government a couple $1 million, and then they can also say how they're going to pay it back. They don't have to pay it back right away. They can do it slowly but surely over a 10-year period, because just like Americans' $36 trillion of debt, it matures slowly. There's lots of debt instruments out there. They're 30 years long and 15 years long. And so we only have to pay those debt backs as those instruments mature. So consequently, it's totally fine for a millionaire family to, a multimillionaire family to declare that they owe the federal government $1.5 million, and they're going to pay it over a 10-year period. Do you follow me? So a revolutionary one-time tax is obviously where they fix it. You might need a constitutional provision to allow for it. So Congress should get a constitutional provision out there, pass it. And, the Congress shall have the authority to institute a one-time revolutionary tax to deal with our debt problem, and they should be able to enforce this article with appropriate legislation. So they just go ahead and figure it out. They get experts, macroeconomic experts, to talk about, well, if you set it at 12%, that should be sufficient, or no, it needs to be 22%. Work out the details. And the threshold should be 300,000, not $1 million, or it should be 740,000. Fine. I don't know. You know what I mean? Those details have to be worked out. I'm not up to the task of answering it. I mean, I guess I have a master's degree in statistics, so I can think about stuff, but I just don't have the data. I don't have access to the data, and plus, that would be a team effort to figure those kinds of things out. But this is how you deal with it. Then, obviously, in my opinion, the smartest thing you can do with the society that we have that's coming is universal basic income. And what you do is you issue a contract, a bid on a contract to Apple and Google and Data Recognition Corporation, whoever, could bid. And once they get the contract, that they establish an online account for every American citizen, or maybe even everyone in the whole world. If you think about it, that might be the best way to do it. But you make it for every American citizen, and then you give everyone 1 penny in their online account. You wait 2 months and make sure that doesn't destroy everything. Well, everyone getting 1 penny is like $3.4 million. That isn't going to change anything. So then you give everyone 2 pennies and you wait a month, and then you give everyone 3 pennies, and eventually you give everyone $1 a day and just see what that does. And you can speculate about all kinds of cool stuff, like, okay, even prisoners, even somebody on death row gets the $1, but the warden takes it for the running of the prison, or somebody who's mentally ill, their family members get that money if they're taking care of them, or if they're in a home, that home would get the money. So it's like, until you amp it up to about $30 a day is what I'm ultimately hoping for. That's about $900 a month. I know somebody who's on disability, they get about a $900 check every month. And so, and then once that starts to happen, think about how much that changes society. If everyone's getting, X number of dollars every month, and, somebody's begging for money at the Wawa or something like that, you can be like, dude, you got your $30 today. You don't beg me for money, figure it out. Stop drinking, stop doing fentanyl, you know what I mean? And people who can live in a spirit of community with 2 or 3 other people, boy, they could pull the resources, and how awesome their lives could be, because they created a community for themselves. So this is clearly what we should be doing. It's so obvious, the objections to it are just absurd. We obviously should one-time revolutionary tax upon the wealthy, and simultaneously you start to create a system of universal basic income for all Americans. And that way, the universal basic income could probably be instituted even without a revolutionary tax on the wealthy, because you can get rid of all kinds of social programs you don't need to have anymore. You don't need unemployment compensation, maybe. I mean, maybe some, because people paid into an unemployment compensation system, so don't get rid of it too fast. But it's like, eventually you wouldn't even need an unemployment compensation system, because people who've been working are also getting that payment. You see what I mean? They're also getting their universal basic income every day. And so they lose their job, they can just fall back upon their universal basic income. And maybe because they've been working a while, some unemployment too, just so they can have a little bit more. They deserve it. They've been working. Something like that. I mean, you can work out the details. These are what we should be doing. Love you.